No one thought Gilligan's Island would become such a classic when it initially debuted. Fans laughed, smiled, and hung on to the charm of that little island for decades. The castaways seemed like family. But throughout the years, one by one, the cast members we loved departed us. Now there is just one member of the main cast left. You might think that surviving such a legacy would be a blessing, but her journey has been full of heartache, loss, and difficulties that few could conceive. So, who is the last person still alive from Gilligan's Island? Come with us as we learn about her life and how it all ended in tragedy. The people that were shipwrecked and what happened to them. A simple query gave rise to Gilligan's Island. What would you take with you if you were stuck on a desert island? Sherwood Schwartz heard that question in a class at New York University and it resonated with him. He thought that was a smart method to get a lot of diverse people to live together in one spot. And that's how the idea for Gilligan's Island came about. There were 98 episodes of the show across 3 seasons, from 1964 to 1966. Even after all these years, folks still can't get the catchy theme music out of their thoughts. Fans know the characters, but a lot of them don't know the genuine tales of the people that play them. Stories that typically ended in disaster. Bob Denver, who played Gilligan, originally became famous for his role as Dobie Gillis. Schwartz swiftly chose him for Gilligan because he stood out as Maynard G. Krebs. Later, Denver starred in Dusty's Trail, which was like Gilligan's Island but in the Wild West. But it only lasted 1 season. He came back for spin-offs and even wore the classic red sweater and bucket hat on Baywatch in 1992. He said in 1995 that he departed Los Angeles in the 1970s because he was tired of watching TV. Denver died of cancer problems in September 2005, when he was 70 years old. Schwartz found Alan Hale Jr. just weeks before filming. He played the kind-hearted captain. "I wanted a big guy, a teddy bear, not a bear," Schwartz stated once. A teddy bear fit Hale well, and admirers liked how he looked after Gilligan. Hale opened a restaurant named Skipper Alan Hale's Lobster Barrel after the program. He was very involved with it until the early 1980s. But he was diagnosed with thymus cancer in 1989 and died at the age of 68 in January 1990. Before he joined the company, Jim Backus was already a star. He played the rich Thurston Howell III. He was in Rebel Without a Cause with James Dean and voiced Mr. Magoo. He continues doing the voice for the character and was in movies like Disney's Pete's Dragon. Sadly, his subsequent work was hindered by Parkinson's illness. He died in July 1989, making him the first member of the cast to do so. Natalie Schafer, who played Lovey Howell, was famous for playing rich, classy characters. She played the same character in spin-offs and on sitcoms like Three's Company and The Brady Bunch. She last acted in 1990. She died of liver cancer in 1991 at the age of 90. She left $2 million to assist pay for the Motion Picture and Television Hospital. And even though these castaways found their endings, one is still out there. Tina Louise, who played the gorgeous Ginger, is the only main cast member of Gilligan's Island who is still alive. But she has also had sad and hard times on her own journey. A lonely childhood. Tina Louise, whose real name was Tina Blacker, was born in New York City in 1934. She didn't have the pleasant family life that many kids want. Her mother, Sylvia, was a young fashion model, and her father, Joseph, reared her as an only child, who used to operate a candy business in Brooklyn but later became an accountant. But Tina's parents split up when she was only 4 years old. That moment made her life different. Her mother was barely 18 when she had her, and her father was 10 years older and immediately left the scene. There is a tale behind Tina's name. She once told me that in high school, she told her acting instructor that she was the only female in her class who didn't have a middle name. Louise was the name the teachers came up with, and it stuck. People would remember her by this moniker for a long time. But before she was Tina Louise, she was a small girl who had to leave home. When she was 6, she went to a boarding school in Ardsley, New York. That separation made me feel really lonely. Tina said that the school was mean and scary. I didn't want to be there right from the start, she admitted. The children were harsh to each other, forming groups like gangs. She recalled once being told her job was to hit another girl, something that left her confused and hurt. Those years felt like survival, not childhood. And the scars from those experiences would follow her even when she found fame. Life inside boarding school walls, Tina's memories of boarding school, sound like something out of a dark novel. She compared it to Lord of the Flies, saying, "We were all just a bunch of angry little girls. Nobody wanted to be there." One girl even stabbed her in the wrist with a pencil, leaving a scar she still carried decades later. Punishments were cruel. When she was caught whispering to another girl at night, a teacher forced her to stand alone in a pitch-black bathroom. Spiders crawling above her. Another time, she was slapped for not running a bath properly. The few small joys she tried to hold on to were often taken from her. Her mother once brought her a doll, but it was quickly taken away by the school. She remembered, "You don't remember things like that. You just remember that it was taken away." Her closest friends were the caterpillars she hid in a box under her bed. But even those were eventually taken from her. She prayed for Sundays because that was visiting day, yet her parents didn't always come. "I yearned for hugs," she said, recalling how painful it was to wait and wait, often with no one showing up. The pain made her dream of escape. She even tried to get sick on purpose. "I remember I kept trying to catch a very bad cold so that I could hardly speak, so I could leave this place," she revealed. But even that didn't work. Instead, she was told to call her mother, only to be told it wasn't the time to get out. Her mother was then with her second husband, who didn't want a little girl around. He wanted his beautiful wife all to himself. For young Tina, that rejection cut deep. It seemed like she didn't belong anywhere. And yet, her journey was only beginning. Between parents and heartbreak. At 8 years old, Tina finally left boarding school and moved in with her father and his new wife. She was overjoyed, finally feeling like she had a home. But that happiness didn't last long. When she turned 11, her mother, now married to a wealthy doctor, her third husband, decided she wanted Tina back. Suddenly, Tina was forced to live in a fancy New York townhouse. She had to leave her father behind, something that broke her heart. She later confessed, "I was very upset. I could never even say his name. It couldn't come out of my mouth." She blamed him for not fighting harder in court to keep her. She thought he would do something, but instead she had to tell him, "I can't see you anymore." She was upset for years because she had to say that to the parent she loved. She wouldn't see him again until right before her career in Hollywood took off. The lengthy time apart inflicted scars that fame could never heal. It was hard for her to get along with her mother as well. Tina remarked that she was the most powerful person in my life, but that power frequently made her feel stuck and invisible. Her mom was having problems of her own. She lost her mother when she was 3 years old, and her father even put his kids in an orphanage for a while. Tina said she never thought she would have a child when she was 18. She didn't have a mom. She always needed a male to help her out. That need affected everything she did, from her 4 marriages to her temper. Tina stated, "My mom was very pretty. She liked the arts, yet she got angry with people a lot. Her mother supported her love of performing even while everything else was going on. And that support helped Tina get away from her sad past." From Broadway to Hollywood. Tina Louise's career began much earlier than expected. She was just 2 years old when she was in an ad for her father's confectionery store. She was already passionate about acting when she was 17. She learned how to act, sing, and dance under Sanford Meisner at the legendary Neighborhood Playhouse in Manhattan. She first appeared on stage in 1952 with the Bette Davis musical Revue 2 group. There were many Broadway roles after that, including as John Murray Anderson's Almanac, Will's success Spoil Rock-Hunter, and the blockbuster musical Lil Abner. Around the same period, Tina also acted in anthology dramas on TV, such as Studio One and Producers. Showcase. People also noticed her amazing beauty. She got modeling jobs, posed for pinup mags, and even made it into the Fredericks of Hollywood catalog in 1958. In May 1958 and April 1959, Columbia Pictures marketed her by putting pictures of her in Playboy. Tina, on the other hand, aspired to be more than just a model. The movie God's Little Acre in 1958 was her big break. The National Art Council rated her the most beautiful redhead in the world the same year. Hollywood instantly paid attention. She starred opposite Robert Ryan in Day of the Outlaw in 1959. Later, she was the leading lady for performers like Robert Taylor and Richard Widmark. In these appearances, she generally played serious dramatic parts. It's interesting that she turned down the movie versions of Lil Abner and Operation Petticoat. She picked roles on Broadway instead, and she even acted in Italian movies. She was in The Siege of Syracuse and Garibaldi in 1960. Those decisions made her stand out, but when she got home, she had a bigger job waiting for her, to become Ginger Grant. Tina came back to the U.S. after living abroad and studied with Lee Strasberg at the Actors Studio to improve her skills. By the early 1960s, she was back on TV in the United States. She played a farm girl from West Virginia on The Real McCoys in 1962. 2 years later, she starred in the beach movie For Those Who Think Young with Bob Denver. That bond would eventually change everything for her. Tina departed the Broadway show Fade Out, Fade In 1964 to take up a new role. Ginger Grant was the beautiful actress that played the part of Gilligan's Island. She would become famous because of the show. Ginger was originally intended as a Marilyn Monroe-like figure, but the story changed. Tina later remarked that a new director came in and really started to write for her role. "I truly liked the person I played." Fans loved her, and Ginger became one of the most famous castaways on the show. But Tina's part wasn't without its troubles. She became dissatisfied because she was afraid that portraying Ginger would limit her career. She said numerous times that the part ruined her career as an actress. She didn't want to come back for the reunion movies Rescue from Gilligan's Island, 1978, The Castaways on Gilligan's Island, 1979, and The Harlem Globetrotters on Gilligan's Island, 1981, unlike her co-stars. Instead, other actresses portrayed Ginger. But Tina's career didn't stop. She kept acting in movies including The Wrecking Crew with Dean Martin in 1969 and The Stepford Wives in 1975. She also played parts that were far darker than Ginger's dazzling persona. She played a drug addict in an episode of Kojak in 1974. In Nightmare in Badham County, which was out in 1976, she played a mean jail officer. In 1976, she worked on Look What's Happened to Rosemary's Baby. In 1977 she worked on SST Death Flight, and from 1978 to 1979 she was on the popular soap opera Dallas. She even joined the syndicated soap operas in the 1980s. Tina's career was showing that she could do a lot more than just play a stranded movie star. People always remembered Ginger, no matter what she did. Life after the island. Tina Louise kept acting in movies and TV shows after the island. She was in the comedy O.C. by Robert Altman and Stiggs in 1987. In 1992, she starred in the comedy Johnny Swede with a teenage Brad Pitt. In 1990, she also made a guest appearance on Married with Children. She was still acting in front of the camera decades later, appearing in Tapestry and the horror movie Late Phases in 2014. She stayed away from the Gilligan's Island reunion movies, but she did make several cameos related to the show. She appeared on chat shows like Good Morning America in 1982, The Late Show in 1988, and even the cast of the TV Land Awards in 2004. In the 1990s, she worked with her old co-stars Bob Denver, Dawn Wells, and Russell Johnson again on an episode of Roseanne. Kristen Dalton portrayed her part in the 2001 movie Surviving Gilligan's Island, which she did not take part in. People often said that she and Denver didn't get along, but after his died in 2005, she wrote a touching tribute for Entertainment Weekly. Tina was the last living cast member of Gilligan's Island when Dawn Wells, who played Mary Ann, died in December 2020. She talked to her supporters and said that the reports that she didn't like portraying Ginger were not true. Not true. She said, "I love doing my part." She also thanked the people who still watch the show after so many years. "We made a lot of people happy, and we still do. This podcast is a break from all the things that are going on. Dads share it with their kids now. I get letters about that all the time." Tina Louise stayed connected to the island for many years. People still thought of her as Ginger Grant, the attractive star who was stuck on a small island with 6 other castaways, even though she had other roles. And for Tina, that role, no matter how confusing her feelings used to be, had become a permanent part of her legacy, full of promise. She also talked about the money situation on Gilligan's Island, saying that no one was earning residuals at that time. No one. The show produced a lot of money for its owners, but the cast never got any of it. But Tina is still shocked at how long the show has been around. She told Fox News Digital, "I'm just amazed that it's still on." Tina Louise's life story is full of tragedy and strength, from a hard childhood to becoming a star in Hollywood to helping students. And even though she found a means to get away from the loneliness of her early years, the memories of that childhood always haunt her, even for the last castaway from Gilligan's Island. Tina Louise married Les Crane in 1966 while she was working on Gilligan's Island. The marriage didn't last long. Crane had a lot of jobs and skills. In New York City, he became famous as a talk show presenter. Nightline, which eventually became The Les Crane Show, was a late-night show that started in 1963 and became recognized for making bold selections. One of the most important things he did was bring the Rolling Stones to American television for the first time in June 1964. Crane switched between acting and presenting after the show finished, never staying in one lane for very long. He even acted alongside Tina on television in 1970. In an episode of Love American Style, the two played a married couple, giving fans a peek into their real-life relationship. Crane later moved into the software business in the 1980s, showing once again that he could do well in any subject. Their daughter Caprice paid tribute to him when he died in July 2008 at the age of 74. She said with pride, "He was amazing. He flew combat planes. He worked as a radio DJ. He hosted a talk program on TV. He got a Grammy. He opened a business online. He was all over the place, but he always did well at everything he tried." Caprice also remembered how brave he was, stating that he was usually the first to try something new. He was always the first to find the next thing. He was very smart and quite witty, and he died too soon. Tina and Les's marriage didn't last, even though he was quite successful. The couple split up just a few months after their daughter was born in 1970. But their daughter would keep them connected in ways they didn't imagine. A daughter who made her own way. Caprice Crane was born in November 1970, right before her parents split up. She made her own position in the entertainment world as she grew older. She started her career at MTV after getting her degree from New York University. She was a writer-producer for the network, making programming for the MTV Movie Awards and sports programs. But that wasn't the end of her aspirations. Caprice started writing novels and then screenplays for Hollywood. In the 2000s, she even worked on the new versions of Beverly Hills, 90210, and Melrose Place. Caprice has said kind things about her mom in interviews. In 2009, she told Pop Entertainment that living in Los Angeles kept them apart, but she always missed being close to her mom in New York. "If there is one thing I don't like about living in LA, it's not being so close to my mom," she said. She even shared how close their bond really was. "Some people think this is insane, but when I'm in New York, my apartment is literally 1 block away from my mom's apartment. And I love it. I could even live in the same building as her, but probably not the same floor. I love having her that close." Caprice's words showed not only her admiration for her mother, but also how strong their connection remained, even after Tina stepped away from the Hollywood spotlight. And while Tina's marriage ended long ago, the love between mother and daughter has remained one of the most important parts of her life. Away from the spotlight. Tina Louise never announced her retirement, but in recent years, she has chosen to live a quiet life away from the Hollywood spotlight. Unlike many of her co-stars, she famously refused to reprise her role as Ginger Grant in the 3 Gilligan's Island reunion movies during the 1970s and 1980s. Still, she appeared in notable films like The Stepford Wives in 1975 and later starred alongside a young Brad Pitt and Johnny Suede in 1991. Even though she stayed active in films, Tina admitted she felt complicated about the role that made her famous. In March 2025, she told the New York Times that she was very grateful for her time on Gilligan's Island, but preferred to be known for other things. She explained that part of her discomfort came from how little money the cast made during filming. They were paid only $1,500 per episode and, shockingly, not a cent from over 50 years of reruns. While the show brought joy to millions, the actors themselves never shared in the financial rewards. Tina's choice to distance herself from the role wasn't about shame. It was about wanting her work to be valued for more than just Ginger. Yet, despite her feelings, the legacy of the island still follows her. And in her own way, Tina has built a new life full of meaning outside of Hollywood. A devoted mother and grandmother. Today, Tina Louise is proud to call herself a mother, and now a grandmother. She lives in New York, close to her daughter Caprice Crane, and recently welcomed the joy of being a yaya, the Greek word for grandmother. Speaking to Forbes in March 2025, Tina shared that she promised Caprice and her newborn granddaughter she would live another 40 years. She said with determination, "I'm going to do the best I can. I'm not thinking about leaving. I don't think of that. I don't want to think about it. I'm running to stay healthy. I'm walking to the gym. I'm just thinking about staying alive for my family. I love being alive." For Tina, family is everything. In another interview, she reflected on raising Caprice, saying, "It's amazing when you have a child. And I had so much fun, in view of the fact that I had such a strange childhood, so much fun raising her." Now, as a grandmother to twins, a little boy and a little girl, she says they are her number one joy. This bond with her family is what gives her the strength to keep going. Even as time moves forward, Tina refuses to focus on aging or endings. Instead, she focuses on living fully for the people she loves most. And while she may not be chasing Hollywood roles, her daily life still carries the same energy she once brought to the screen. Even though Tina often felt typecast by Gilligan's Island, she has grown to see the impact the show had on people. She admitted, "We brought a lot of joy to people and still do. This show is an escape from so many things going on. Fathers share it with their children now. I get letters all the time about that." She also reflected on why the show meant so much in its time. These statements revealed how well she grasped Gilligan's Island's significance in culture. "It wasn't only a funny show, it helped me get through a hard time. But Tina has always made sure people know that she was more than just Ginger. She wrote books after the island, such Sunday, a memoir, and When I Grow Up, a book for kids. She still acted from time to time, most recently in the 2019 movie Tapestry with Stephen Baldwin. She responded yes when asked if she will perform again. "But it's like dreaming won't make it happen. I don't think people look for you. But if someone asked me to do something I wanted to do, I would want to do it." Tina makes her health a key priority these days. She said, "I usually like to walk at least a mile a day, but a lot of days I walk more than 2 miles. My daughter said I had to live. I watch what I consume. I eat a lot of plants, but I wouldn't call myself a vegetarian." In her own words, Tina says she is only focused on the present. When asked about legacy or what she hopes to leave behind, she cut the conversation short. No. My daughter said I had to live 40 years, so I'm going to do the best I can. I'm not thinking about leaving. I don't think of that. I don't want to think about it. I'm running to stay healthy. I'm walking to the gym. I'm just thinking about staying alive for my family. I love being alive." Her words say it all. Tina Louise has been famous, had problems, and survived for decades. Now, her life is about being thankful, strong, and happy to be alive. A rare public appearance at 91. On June 4, Tina Louise, the last living star of Gilligan's Island, stunned fans by going out in New York City. She went out in Manhattan's Upper East Side when she was 91 years old. This was the first time she had been seen in public since the New York Film Festival in 2022. She looked fashionable but casual for the event. She wore a black leather jacket, blue trousers, black sneakers, and carried 2 black bags and a navy blue umbrella. Her red hair, which was legendary, still shone out. A remembrance of the gorgeous Ginger Grant she played from 1964 to 1967. Tina has said several times that she wants to be remembered for more than just the sitcom. She told the New York Times, "I'm very grateful for all the things that have happened to me and the chances I've had. I want people to know me for more than just this." Her family and her work with kids are the most important things in her life right now. In March, she told Forbes, "It's amazing to have a child, and I had so much fun raising her. We now have twins, a boy and a girl. They are the best." Tina has quietly worked in New York schools since 1995, helping young pupils learn to read. She says the experience has been tremendously nutritious, essential, and emotional. What do you think about Tina Louise being active and happy at 91? Does her story give you hope? Leave a comment below to share your opinions. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more amazing stories from Hollywood's interesting past. See you soon!